Now we do a little panel, some questions. No, because really, Tarek, and it's the same with Home2Go and Omio earlier. You can sit in the middle. Yeah, you're the kingmaker with your social influencers.
The influencer messias.
No, but if you think about the big platforms, right? I mean, who would have thought that a startup from Germany will gain market share in online fashion? And I listened to your podcast actually a few days ago, and I thought originally it's the influencers, yeah? The authentication of a fashion or trend or style. Then I learned about your big data strategy. Then I learned about your offline magazine, an online magazine. And then this crazy guy, they're doing like a TV show with, you reach 12 million people following the About You award.
8 million, yes. Yeah. 8 million followed our TV show. It's one of the largest.
And then the
TV
children
shows
of the 8 will also know, right? I mean,
probably, yes.
yeah, they also know. So, what do you think was it for you, Tarek? What was really the most important thing at About You which made it fly? At Amazon, it was the one-click checkout. At eBay, it was the merchant credibility through the ratings. Everyone had like their one thing. Is there something like you for About You?
Hard to say. First of all, what you said of that most of the people thought it doesn't make sense to build a new fashion e-commerce online shop in 2014 actually was true. I think 90% of the people said we will fail. Luckily, the Otto Group has put trust in us, and as founders we believed as well, but I believe we were basically the only ones believing in that business model, but it turned out very well. I think what we did right is, or where we were lucky, is with a couple of hypotheses. First, we thought this fashion discovery segment is something which will be digitized, and there is no player actually capturing that potential. I think you can see that now in the numbers. We have a very good growth, but also if you go down to the cohorts, we see that we have a very high stickiness of our users, which ultimately drives frequency of orders, which makes our whole business model potentially more profitable than our incumbents like Zalando and ASOS.
Zalando, they offer everything.
Yes.
I think you offer, your number of SKUs are probably a lot smaller, but you find more the things, you curate your offering, you find more the things people really want to buy rather than having access to every single SKU.
I mean, if you look on our assortment, which is theoretically available, it's similar to Zalando actually.
It is.
But if you look on what the user actually sees, it's curated. But the kind of the magic is that it's curated.
So you have both sides. You have it's like white pages, yellow pages. I'm looking for one specific item, which you can fulfill.
Yes.
But then, and this is what Amazon doesn't solve. They don't help you what pants to buy.
Yeah.
So you also help on the curation side.
Yes, so basically we have everything available. If you would search for it, you would for sure find it. We have similar assortment size as Zalando, for example, or Amazon, but we curate the assortment and the content we recommend to every single user. And it's also important to really have the mass market, because by that we are able to find the perfect match for every single user, because tastes are different. Yeah. And you were asking about kind of our success formula. I believe when I talk about that with my two co-founders, we always say there is no success formula. I mean, if you're an e-commerce player, you're a heavy operationally driven business, and obviously you need innovation in marketing and content, etc., etc. But I think like 90% of my time really goes in making sure that operations works. Yeah, and that is actually
the little things.
Yeah, the little things. Yeah, and I don't think that Amazon is successful because of the one-click checkout. I think Amazon, this is something which is obviously a hero innovation, and it's important to have a couple of hero innovations. But I think underlying success of e-commerce players often has to do with perfect operations, with basically being false-free. Yeah, I mean, if you order something on Amazon, it works, and that is, to make sure that it works is already a pretty hard job, and most of the e-commerce players actually fail at the kind of homework. And then obviously if you've done your homework, which is a lot of effort, then you need to basically put a bit of innovation on top, and our kind of innovation is then influencer marketing, the curation, the personalization, the content, and having the best smartphone app. And I think this is what ultimately attracts our users.
You're like a very modern e-commerce business which uses all the different tools. How important are influencers to you? It says 500 what was 500 million?
Yeah, 500 plus monthly influencer corporations. I mean, at the moment, it's a bit outdated already. I mean, we have around 800, 900 influencer corporations per month.
And you have your own platform for managing those corporations?
Yes. Yeah, we have built an own platform in-house, and we can look back to 5 years' experience and history of data and basically calculating the ROI of every single influencer, and that makes it very powerful. And by that we can really pick out the highest potential influencers, and with them we do events, we do capsule collections, we do basically everything to gain the attention of their followers and ultimately drive the followers of the influencers towards our platform.
It's real advertising. It's not the paid for. It's like they love the product.
Yes.
So it's authenticated.
Yeah, I mean, it's authenticated, and what they love is they love what we do. So we create stories, we create basically experiences, and what they do is they take out their smartphone and they like it, and they authentically tell the stories we are creating, basically. So they are telling our stories, they are telling stories about you, and that makes it very powerful, and that makes it very authentic, I believe. And if you asked how important is this, I mean, I always think you can't underestimate, but you shouldn't overestimate the importance of influencers. If you want to reach the young target group, and I mean, by young, I mean probably younger than 25, I think you need to do influencer marketing, or you need to at least have some kind of social media strategy, because the young people are spending most of their times either in channels like Netflix or Spotify where you can't do advertising, or they are doing it in social media. So if you want to reach the young audience, you need to have some kind of social media strategy. On the other hand, if you want to reach 35 plus, I think influencer marketing is more or less, I mean, you can do it, but it's not the big lever, I would say. Yeah. Right. So it always differs between audiences, I would say. Yeah.
You're both in Hamburg. Kaspar, have you tried to pitch Tarek some of your influencers yet?
Not yet.
Well, now is the time. Give us a power pitch. Why work with SPAZE? What problem you are solving, and what track record you have in doing so?
What we're solving, the biggest problem is the match. The brands currently, when they decide on influencers, they don't know whether the influencer actually matches to the brand. And that's what we're solving, because our approach is a qualitative approach. So we're trying to identify this authenticity match between the brand and the influencer, and not because she or he has strong likes or engagement rates, which of course has a relevance because it kind of defines the scope. But if something is not matching, the whole reach doesn't really
use data to match the influencer to the right corresponding brand, where there is actually a bit of a pull that the friends are following. Do you know how much brands or consumer goods in Europe or Germany, I don't know what market stat you have, what they are spending on social influencer marketing? Is it like single digit? How does it compare to like a Facebook advertising or a Google SEM strategy, or is it getting bigger and bigger? Is there like other market data? Because some of these deals, you have your own platform, right? So you're not reporting how much you pay. So it's very hard to measure the market. But it feels like everyone is talking about social influencers. Yeah. We are hiring now 2 social media helpers who are joining us to help us to reach the new generation of entrepreneurs, I guess. Any market sizes?
Well, I don't know what you have or what kind of data you have. I couldn't give a number. There are 2, I would say, relevant developments. It is become a serious multi-billion business if you isolate the spends on influencer. And second is it gets into the relevant budgeting of the big media spenders. 1 or 2 years ago, you would have influencer marketing, but it was kind of covered under PR, or it was somewhere hidden in a different budget. Now, the influencer spends or marketing budget is a individual budget which is budgeted, and it's growing rapidly. But I couldn't give you an exact number.
I think in cosmetics, it's like 30% of the ad spend, I heard already.
Could be, yeah.
So Tarek, how do you find your influencers? SPAZE is like the suggestion machine to get you the right influencer. You obviously found very good ones. Some are famous, right? You have also celebrities on the platform. Are they coming to you, or do you also have like a data strategy where you identify them yourself and then you bring them in the network?
I believe both. I mean, luckily, since About You is a kind of well-recognized brand, a lot of celebrities actually want to work with us. That's cool. On the other hand, we are heavily data-driven, so we crawl Instagram, basically, worldwide. And yeah, then we have our own metric set on how to calculate what it would be worth for us to work with those influencers. Then we try to test them as fast as possible. We try to get as many insights as possible about the target group, about the performance, about sales performance, about the real audience, because I mean, I think that is pretty clear that the followers are not the real audience. Yeah, there's often a huge gap between real reach and what Instagram says, how many people are following you. It is sometimes really horrible how large that delta is. So I think you need to set up a
range. I think when you look at the likes in % of the followers, and if the number is like crazy low, you kind of know they're not engaged. There might be fake users. But you're doing something quite similar than Kaspar. And Kaspar, your technology, which is what Tarek described, you're offering it to lots of different other companies, right?
Well, basically to everyone. I would say our core case is not the BMW or Unilever. It is, I don't know, the SMB company who sells candles or who sells sunglasses, who's very much dependent on influencer marketing to reach the target group, and who doesn't that much care whether it is influencer A or B. They rather get the reach and the engagement on the product. So the quality of the influencer is very relevant. And so that's kind of our core case, but in general, the platform is available to anyone.
We will try your platform. We will try it. What do you pay the influencers when, like, an influencer comes and wears the clothes? You do like a shooting, I guess. Then it goes online, and then people start buying. So you pay them on a fixed fee, or you give them a commission, or how do you monetize? Or how do they monetize?
I mean, we started with a commission model, but it was very hard to explain it to a couple of them. So at the end, we calculate it as a commission model, but then we pay them a fixed price, but which is based on either forecast. If it's a new influencer, it's a forecast on the potential revenue we can do through that influencer. And if we have history data, it's basically based on history data of what we pay them. But what I see on the market is that I believe, I would assume like at least 80% of the influencer campaigns I see, if not even more than 90%, are completely waste of money, I would say. They are overpricing or overpaying because they are calculating on followers, for example. And if you look on if you, for example, calculate the CPM on the real reach, it is completely insane what some brands are paying because they don't understand the topic. So I believe actually influencer marketing can be a very powerful tool, but it can also be a tool where you burn a lot of useless money if you do it wrong, if you pick the wrong influencers, and if you then overpay, and if you then create a wrong, basically, campaign around it. Yeah. So I think it's a very difficult topic, and yeah, I don't think it makes sense to test a little bit on influencer marketing. I mean, everything. If you either you do it seriously, then you should put a lot of budget in it and put a lot of thought and data and intelligence around it, and then you have the chance of scaling it and make it profitable. But in most cases, I see people doing it more because they want to tell it on stages or whatever. But they do it very, I would say, dumb. And overpay influencers and then have a very bad campaign, and then this could be even negative, or in most cases it's just useless. So I don't think influencer marketing is the holy grail.
No, it's one aspect, right?
Yes, yeah.
Talking about, well, coming from influencer to under the influence of, so cannabis is our next next topic. How high can valuation get, as Jan put it? Thank you so much, Kaspar.